What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one, we're going to be breaking down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about some very important levels on Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and what the news is saying about Tesla. But before I break anything down, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. This offer ends in just about 10 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. So when it comes to Tesla in the market right now, we're actually seeing the market kind of falling during the pre-market. Tesla is down a little bit, so is SPY. We're going to be watching these supports right over here. But part of why the market's down is just kind of like a reaction after the data and also because of some other factors. But for now, let's talk about the data. This data just came out. Non-farm payrolls were hotter than expected, and the unemployment rate was lower than expected. This shows strength in the labor market, and this is not what the market really wanted to see. Generally, the market wants a softening, and that's what the Fed was going after. With the unemployment being a little low, this could lead to a risk of higher inflation, according to Jerome Powell, but not a guarantee thus far. Non-farm payrolls were hot. The job sector is strong, and the unemployment rate was 3.7% below expectations. There was basically less unemployment in America than expected, suggesting that there are more jobs and things are stronger than expected, at least on paper. Not saying that I trust these numbers, just saying I'm just saying that that's based off what we're seeing. This is based off what the market is reacting from. At 10 o'clock a.m., of the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Reports. This is going to cause more volatility, so watch for that. And that's it for the data. With the labor market looking a little stronger, the market's starting to dip a bit thanks to that. And now let's break down some other factors. SPY has obviously over 1 million puts expiring, but max pain's at 451. So that means that just because the market has all these puts, it does not mean that the market has to just like continue pushing up and squeezing all shorts always, because the market makers will be fine even if we do drop a bit because max pain is below where we are. And if I was a market maker, I would technically want us to get closer to max pain. But now let's break down a couple of things about that. The market could still kind of like drop a bit and the market makers will be fine. If they hold it up, there's going to be a risk of a little downside for Monday. But I think the market could still bounce once we get to our demands, and I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Some things about the market. You could argue that December has been very sideways. We've seen the market just going between supply and demand. The jobs numbers are looking kind of hot so far, which is causing the market to tip a bit. When it comes to the UK, regulators have opened an initial review of Microsoft's investment to ChatGPT, and we're continuing to see watchdogs looking into these different investments and kind of trying to regulate what's going on. And finally, Amazon is testing a Prime exclusive grocery subscription in their latest logistics empire. And this is important for them because this is like a big improvement that they could be making to Prime, which is decent news for Amazon. We'll see how this goes for them. To add on to this, we have two more things coming out about Tesla. Tesla's head of Dojo supercomputer is out. This is actually what caused Tesla to dip. Basically, his name is, I can't really say his name. I think that his name was Ganesh. I'm just going to say his first name, not his last name. Sorry about that, guys. But Ganesh was basically hired at Tesla by Jim Keller and the company when Elon Musk wanted to build a chip making team. And he participated in the development of Tesla's FSD chips, which is great news. He's very well respected, amazing man. And I think that it was just confirmed, according to Bloomberg, that he left the company today. He left Tesla without specifying a reason. So he has left. He basically was a very, very respected chip designer, and he came to Tesla after 14 years at AMD. And with him leaving, this could lead to some concerns, at least for Tesla. I'm sure they will find someone else that can do a great job, but I just want to note that he was well respected and the work he has done is incredible. So, with that being said, now I want to break down other things. Musk's Scandinavian woes have deepened as Tesla's lost a Swedish court case. I talked about this, and we have to see another agreement that's bipartisan. And now we have Finnish unions that are joining, not to mention the Danes. We're seeing basically many countries in Northern Europe that are just continuing to block ports and join these unions against Tesla. Musk has spoken against them, and he's made some good points about these unions and etc. But at the same time, You can't just have one view. I would say that it's very important to be open-minded and just to see if they can negotiate. With that being said, let's see how it goes. Now let's just break down the market. What do I see so far? We're going to start off with Tesla. I'll talk about SPY, etc. On Tesla, one of the things I mentioned is that we could get a test of this yellow trend line right over here. This is our key support on Tesla. You guys can see this yellow line is where we tended to bounce historically, and we're still like holding it up quite decently. So I was anticipating we might see it kind of drop a little bit. We're barely holding 240. If we lose this, watch 238 as support. If we get above 242, watch 244. So there's 244 as resistance, 242. We have 240 as support, 238, and then 236. Now, I just want to mention that if we kind of like pop, we might get a little pop when we open on Tesla and a drop right here. If we lose 240, watch this 238 test with one of their best chip designers leaving the company. That's some bad news for them. Not to mention the market kind of selling off a bit. So we might see Tesla retest this 238 zone. If we lose that, 236 could be tested. We might see Tesla get bought right back up. So even if we do lose the yellow trend line temporarily, I wouldn't be too concerned. Tesla could test this. So there could be a little downside coming. Watch support. Tesla might kind of shop around between supply and demand, might pop and drop towards the yellow trend line. And we'll see if that holds at this 238 area. We might see Tesla test that and kind of shop around. So I think Tesla might do that at least for now. But don't forget, we could still see a big bounce after CPI. For SPY, if you want to be bullish on SPY, you want to see it break above 458.5, 459, that resistance zone right there, and then get above 460 and close above there. That would be bullish. And for bearish, you want to see like a temporary rejection. But to be super bearish, you want to see this orange trend line break. So we are looking a little bearish, but not like extremely bearish. We would turn extremely bearish if something like this happens. Not this. If we did something like this, where we kind of like break the resistance, right? We haven't done that thus far. So now I just want to talk about something else. So on SPY, if you guys haven't noticed, 458 is where we tend to get these rejections, and 460 we got a rejection, 458 we rejected, 458 we rejected, also reject off 458. So between 458 and 459 we get most rejections, and also sometimes at 460. This tells us that SPY has a supply zone up there. I actually marked it right here, and this is where we tend to reject, and we tend to see buyers stepping around 455. So we're starting to reject right now on SPY. With that happening, I do want to mention that because we have all these puts expiring, they could try to hold it up for a while, but it's looking kind of bearish. And simultaneously, I just want to call out that on SPY, we also happen to have a gap. If you look at the 30 minutes time frame, there's this gap way down here. If we lose the 50 EMA at 457, watch it fill this gap at like 455. So what levels am I going to be watching for on SPY? Watch 457 is support. If we lose this, watch 456.5. If we lose that, we're going to be sinking down to 455 to fill the gap. And we could bounce after that. For resistance, watch 458. And then we have 459 basically above that. And we have 460. So in my opinion, if we do sell off a bit, it's not the end of the world. We have the orange trend line acting as support. Once again, guys, we've been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So with this double top forming, it looks like it might come back down. Maybe come back down a little below around 455 and bounce. So I could see that happening. And then I think that there could be a bigger move by Tuesday. So it is looking a little bearish for now. So watch support and see how SPY holds. I just wanted to call that out. QQQ is also looking a little bearish, but not extremely bearish to the point where it's crashing. Just a little pullback is coming. So if you're bullish, you want to see it break 391. I called out how we could reject off here and start dropping. We've rejected, watch 388 as support. If we lose that, watch 386. And if we lose that, there's 385. Watch those supports. It looks like it might pop and drop back to 389 and come back down towards 386. And I think that there could be a little pullback coming on the QQQ just temporarily. But it can always bounce around 385. So look for a little more downside of 388 breaks. Watch 386 to 385, and we'll see if it bounces there or not. For Nvidia, just want to call out that Nvidia has some potential downside. We had a rising wedge that was forming on the chart, starting to reject right here. Could backtest like 468 and reject. If it keeps dropping, watch 462. If we lose that, it's going to come down to 459, 457, and 455. Those are some supports. For resistance, watch 468 and 472. If you want to be bullish, you want to see it break 472. If you're bearish, you want to see it lose 462. Looks like it might actually come down towards that wick and come down to 462 or below that. On Apple stock, this is also looking a little bit flat right now. We're just barely holding 194. If we lose 194, you can be looking for a move to 193.5. If that fails us, 192.5 is next. And I think that there's a risk of it coming down just a bit because it is starting to downtrend just a little bit. If you want to be bullish, you want to see it actually break and hold 195. As of right now, it's kind of rejecting off that level. So there's a risk of it coming back down to 193.5. And if that breaks, it'll turn even more bearish. So, whoops, sorry about that, guys. So what do I see for the markets? I think that there's going to be a risk of some downside, if anything. So make sure you watch support, especially on Tesla. Watch and see if the support holds. We might just kind of chop around the yellow trend line, this 238 area. And with SPY potentially selling off just a bit, we might see some more downside. It might kind of like pop and then drop, in my opinion. They might grab some liquidity above to 458 and drop it. So watch for a little pop and drop. And I just want to call out to this potential move to the downside. So watch your levels and just know that I'm not saying SPY is going to crash. I'm simply saying that we might test our demand area. So like on Tesla, we have this like trend line. SPY also has the orange trend line to be watching for. We might just test the trend line and try to bounce. Just wanted to call that out. As of right now, it's going as expected. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. I'll see you guys very soon, and peace out.